Imagine a girl, barely 15, standing at the edge of a storm-swept cliff, her life tethered to a stranger's promise. In a town where the sea whispers secrets and hope drowns in debt, Lila Kane makes a choice no one should face. Marry a man old enough to be her grandfather, or lose the only family she has left. But what she uncovers in his shadowed manner will change her, and the world, forever. What's up, story lovers? Welcome to Story Room by Rico, where we bring you gripping tales that'll keep you hooked. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a story. Also, let us know in the comments section where you are watching from. Buckle up for a tale of courage, betrayal, and redemption that'll grip your heart and won't let go. The cliffs of Marrow's Point loomed like silent judges over the town below, their jagged edges slicing the summer sky. Wind carried the tang of salt and fish, mingling with the despair that clung to the streets. Lila Kane stood in the market square, her bare feet gritty with mud, her hands raw from a morning spent gutting mackerel. At 15, she was all sharp angles and defiance. Brown eyes that dared you to look away, black hair tangled from neglect. Her basket sagged with unsold fish, each one a reminder of the coins she didn't have. Orphaned at 6 when her parents' skiff vanished in a squall, Lila had grown up under her Aunt Mara's care. Mara was a seamstress, her fingers nimble despite the cough that had crept into her lungs. She'd taught Lila to scale fish, to stitch a hem, to hold her head high when townsfolk whispered, "Charity case." But now Mara was fading. Fever, chills, a rattle in her chest the doctor called consumption. Treatment cost £50 up front, a bed another 100. To Lila it was a fortune. She'd sold everything. Her mother's silver locket, Mara's pedal-driven sewing machine, even the knife her father had carved with her initials. Nights on the dock, guarding her catch from strays, had left her hollow. Mara's breathing grew thinner, and Lila's hopes slipped like sand through her fingers. That morning, a shadow crossed her basket. She looked up to meet eyes like storm clouds, gray, unyielding. The man was old, maybe 70, his face etched with lines and a scar that ran from cheek to jaw. His coat, black wool with silver buttons, marked him as an outsider. Marrow's Point didn't breed men like him. "You're Lila Kane," he said, voice low, like waves on gravel. She squared her shoulders. "Who's asking?" "Vincent Marrow." He let the name hang, as if it carried weight. "Didn't. Your aunt's sick. I can help." Lila's grip tightened. Men didn't offer help here, not without strings. "We don't take charity." "Not charity. A deal." Her stomach nodded. She knew the stories, traders who promise gold and left girls ruined. But Mara's cough echoed in her skull, and the clinic's locked door burned her memory. "What deal?" Vincent glanced at the sea, then back. "Marry me. I'll pay for her treatment, medicine, bed, all of it. Enough left to keep you fed for years." The words crashed over her, cold and heavy. Marriage? She was a girl who'd fought off dock rats, who'd never held a boy's hand, who slept with a knife under her pillow. This man, scarred, silent, old enough to have buried her twice over, wanted her as a wife? "You're mad," she said, stepping back. "Maybe." He didn't chase her, didn't plead. "Your aunt has days. I have money. You choose." She wanted to spit in his face, to run until the cliffs swallowed her. But she saw Mara's sunken cheeks, heard her whisper, "You're my brave girl." Could she trade her future for Mara's life? "What do you get?" she asked, voice trembling. "Why me?" His jaw clenched, and something, grief, maybe, flickered in his eyes. "My business," he said. "Yes, and she lives." "No, and I'm gone." The sea roared below, and Lila's heart pounded. She hated the word before it left her mouth. Fine, she whispered. I'll do it. Vincent nodded like sealing a ledger. Tomorrow, noon, clerk's office. He walked away, his coat flapping like a warning. Lila stood, basket shaking, wondering if she'd sold her soul. The clerk's office reeked of damp paper and wax. Lila stood in a borrowed dress, lace gone yellow, too wide for her frame, loaned by a neighbor who'd clucked her pity. Her hair was pinned, but strands stuck to her neck, damp with sweat and dread. Vincent stood beside her, gray suit crisp, scar stark in the dim light. The clerk, a twitchy man with ink-stained fingers, read the vows like a man late for supper. Do you, Vincent Marrow, take this woman? I do, Vincent said, no warmth, no hesitation. And you, Lila Kane? Her throat closed. The room was too small, the air too thick with mildew and finality. She wanted to scream, to bolt for the sea and let it claim her. But Mara was in the clinic. Vincent had paid at dawn, true to his word. Medicine flowed, and her fever had broken. Lila owed him, didn't she? I do, she mumbled, barely a breath. The clerk scrawled their names, thrust a certificate at them, and muttered, Congratulations. No rings, no kiss, just a paper chain binding her to a stranger. Outside, clouds bruised the sky. Cart waited, its horse snorting steam. Get in, Vincent said. We're going home. Home. Lila's voice cracked. I thought. Your aunt's cared for. You're with me. He climbed in, leaving her to scramble after. The cart rattled up a cliff path, wheels groaning. Lila clutched the certificate, its edges curling in her grip. She stole glances at Vincent, his profile sharp, eyes fixed ahead. Who was he? Why her? The questions clawed, but his silence was a wall. The manor loomed into view, stone and ivy, perched like a predator over the sea. Windows were boarded, shutters sagged. It wasn't a home. It was a ruin with a pulse. Vincent opened the door, hinges shrieking. Inside, the foyer was grand but broken. Marble cracked, chandelier half dead. Vincent lit a lantern, shadows leaping. Your room's upstairs, he said, pointing to a staircase spiraling into dark. Second door. Don't wander. Lila's pulse raced. Where's yours? Down the hall. He didn't meet her eyes. Supper later. Rest. His boots echoed as he left. Lila climbed, each step creaking like a warning. Her room was plain but clean, bed, dresser, window framing the sea. A table held books. Novels, histories, poetry with faded covers. She touched them, confused. Why books for a bride he didn't want? She sat, dress itching, certificate heavy beside her. Married. To a man who didn't speak, who locked doors, who looked at her like a duty, not a wife. What had she done? The first week blurred into strangeness. Vincent was a phantom. There at dawn with porridge, gone by noon, back at midnight with a lantern and no words. He cooked. Fish stew, bread, apples from a gnarled tree, but never ate with her, leaving plates outside her door. Lila wanted to hate him, but the food warmed her bones. The bed cradled her aches, and Mara's letters, delivered by a gap-toothed boy, said she was mending. Gratitude felt like a betrayal. The manor was a riddle. The library brimmed with books. French, Latin, tongues Lila couldn't parse, but dust cloaked the chairs. The kitchen had fresh time, but half the rooms were barred. One door, East Hall, stood apart. Oak, brass lock gleaming like a dare. Lila passed it daily, its pull growing. Vincent never spoke of it, but his eyes sharpened when she lingered. Townsfolk whispered when she fetched supplies. Marrow's bride, they sneered, spitting the word. He's hiding something. Rumors bloomed. Vincent smuggled opium, murdered a wife, sold his soul. Lila scoffed at magic, but his scar, his stealth, like a man expecting a knife, made her wonder. One night, sleep fled. She crept downstairs, drawn to a glow under the library door. Through the crack, she saw Vincent at a desk, marking a map, hands shaking. He muttered names: Clara, May, Sarah. A knife glinted beside him. Lila's breath caught, and she retreated, heart hammering. Why a knife at midnight? Next day, Vincent caught her eyeing the locked door. Don't, he snapped, sharper than ever. Some things aren't yours. Then why am I here? She shot back, surprising herself. You don't talk. You don't touch me. What do you want? He looked at her, truly looked, for the first time since the vows. His eyes softened, then hardened. To keep you safe, he said, and walked away. Safe from what? The question festered. Lila wasn't soft. She'd fought dock thieves, haggled with drunks, buried her parents' ghosts. She didn't need his cage. She needed truth. Wow. Lila's already facing mysteries that'd make anyone's heart race. If you're hooked on her journey, hit that subscribe button and join our storytelling crew. Let's uncover Vincent's secrets together. Ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. 3 weeks in, a storm slammed Marrow's Point. Rain lashed the cliffs. Thunder rattled the manor's bones. Vincent left at dawn, pack slung over his shoulder. No explanation. Lila paced her room, wind howling through the shutters. The locked door sang to her, louder than the gale. If Vincent hid something, she'd find it. No more shadows. She grabbed a hairpin, a trick from dock kids who lifted wallets. The hall was dark, storm muffling her steps. At the door, she knelt, pin probing the lock. Her hands shook, not cold but dread. What if she found bodies? Gold? Worse? The lock clicked, and the door groaned open. Lightning lit the room. Shelves stuffed with journals, maps, photographs. A desk held an unlit lantern. A box carved with EM. Lila stepped in, dust tickling her nose. She opened a journal, pages crackling. Names spilled out, girls, dozens. Clara, Lisbon, 1898, saved. May, Shanghai, 1902, lost. Stories of brothels, orphanages, rescues, failures. Photos showed faces, smiling, haunted. One, a girl with braids, was Sarah, gone from town years ago. Note: safe. Canada, 1905. Lila's hands quaked as she opened the box. Letters, Vincent's script, others childish. One, sealed, read, Lila Kane. She tore it open. If you're reading this, you found the room. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. You were never a bride, not in their way. I married you to stop them. They're coming, Lila. Read the journals. Trust only yourself. Lightning flashed. Footsteps, heavy, not Vincent's, echoed downstairs. Someone was inside. Lila stuffed the letter in her pocket, grabbed a journal, and locked the door. She slipped into the library, crouching behind a shelf as a man stormed the foyer, broad hat shadowing his face. Marrow, he bellowed. Show yourself. Her pulse roared. He wasn't a thief, his steps hunted. She waited, breath shallow, until he moved upstairs, then bolted to her room, barring the door. She opened the journal, Vincent's words spilling secrets. He was no smuggler, no killer. A detective, once, in a northern city, until his daughter, Eliza, was stolen by traffickers. He'd hunted them, too late for her, and vowed to save others. 30 years, ports, slums, villages, rescuing girls from sale or slaughter. Bribes, arsons, safe houses. His scar was a Cairo blade. His wealth sold houses and stocks. Lila's name was last, Lila Kane, Marrow's Point, 1908. Targeted. Debt trap. Marriage to block Varkis. Varkis, circled in red, sketched with a hooked nose. The man downstairs? Her door rattled. Lila. Vincent's voice, ragged. Open it. She hesitated, then unbarred it. He stood, soaked, blood seeping from his arm. You went to the room, he said. Who's Varkis? She held up the journal. Vincent sagged. You weren't ready. Tell me, or I scream. He shut the door. Varkis buys girls for men with gold and no souls. Your aunt's debt, medicine, rent, was his trap. He owns the lender. He wanted you. I got there first. Lila's knees buckled. You bought me? No, his eyes blazed. I gave you armor. Marriage paper, Lila. Varkis can't touch a wife without exposing himself. I needed time. For what? To kill him. Vincent's voice was stone. He's here. Tonight. Can you believe Lila's caught in this web of danger and secrets? If Vincent's plan has you on edge, smash that subscribe button to follow their fight. We're only halfway. Join us for the showdown by hitting the bell. Vincent's plan was desperate. Varkis had tracked him, sniffing a threat. The manor held evidence. Names, routes, Varkis's empire. Vincent meant to lure him out, signal allies offshore. But Varkis was fast, and Vincent bled. Lila's mind reeled. Sarah's photo, the journals, her own name, they weren't trophies but lifelines. Anger burned, bait, not bride, but so did fire. She saw those girls, saw herself. What now? She asked. Vincent studied her. Run. Boat at the dock, coins in my study. Find Clara, Bristol. She'll hide you. No, Lila stood taller. I know the cliffs, the town. I can help. Lila. You saved them. Let me save you. He smiled, faint but real. All right. My lead. They schemed fast. Lila would bait Varkis to the cliffs, where Vincent hid a flare for the ship. She'd play scared, draw him out. Vincent would flank. The storm would mask them. Lila swapped her dress for a cloak, rain stinging as she ran to the dock, shouting Varkis's name. He emerged, hooked nose gleaming. Where's Marrow? He snarled, grabbing her. She twisted free, sprinting for the cliffs. Varkis chased, his men trailing. At the outcrop, Lila lit the flare, red light piercing the gale. Varkis lunged, but Vincent tackled him, fists and blades flashing. Lila screamed as Varkis's knife bit Vincent's side, but Vincent roared, driving him back. A gunshot cracked, one of Varkis's men, but the flare worked. Lanterns bobbed, allies storming ashore. Varkis slipped, clawing the cliff, but it crumbled. He fell, waves swallowing his scream. Vincent collapsed, blood pooling. Lila knelt, pressing his wound, sobbing, Stay! He gripped her hand. Journals, use them. Finish it. I will, she choked. I promise. His eyes warmed. Eliza would have liked you. Then he was still. Vincent's gone, but Lila's fight is just beginning. Talk about a heart-pounding moment. If you're rooting for her, subscribe now to see how she honors his legacy. Hit that bell. We've got more to unravel. Dawn crept over the cliffs, gray and heavy. Vincent's allies, ex-cops, a priest, a woman with a ledger, secured the manor, taking journals, cuffing Varkis's men. Lila stood on the outcrop, Vincent's coat around her, sea stretching endless. She was 15, but felt ancient, her heart scarred with loss and vows. The town buzzed, murder, magic, madness. Lila ignored them. She buried Vincent under the manor's apple tree, stone reading. For Eliza and all the rest. The journals showed more girls still trapped, men like Varkis still prowling. Clara's address waited, but Lila stayed. She opened the manor. Girls came, runaways, orphans, daughters sold for debts. Lila fed them, read to them, taught them the sea wasn't just loss. Townsfolk called her mad, then brave, then keeper of the cliffs. At 20, Lila sailed north. The Marrow Files, her published journals, shattered trafficking rings, Lisbon, Shanghai, beyond. She spoke in courts, her voice soft but iron. Varkis's empire fell, girls walked free. Summers, she returned to Marrow's Point. The manor shone, not ruin but refuge. Girls laughed under the tree, reading, dreaming. Lila touched the stone, whispering, "I hope you see me." The years didn't soften Lila's edge. They honed it. By 25, she'd built a network, not of shadows like Vincent's, but of light. Safe houses dotted coasts, funded by the Marrow File sales and donors who'd read her words. She trained girls to fight, to read, to speak, skills no one could steal. Marrow's Point, once a trap, became a beacon. The clinic took no bribes. The school taught free. Lila never married again. The certificate, yellowed, stayed in a drawer. Not a chain, but a reminder. She'd been bait, then fire. Love, she learned, wasn't a vow. It was action, Vincent's lesson, carved in her bones. One night, a girl arrived, 13, bruised, stolen from a port town. Lila saw Eliza in her eyes. She gave her a bed, a book, a knife. "You're safe," she said, and meant it. The sea roared, and Lila smiled. She wasn't Vincent's bride, nor his daughter. She was his spark, and the world would burn before she let it die. Lila's building a legacy that'll outlive her. What a journey! If her fires got you inspired, subscribe to catch more stories of courage and change. Hit the bell. Let's keep the spark alive. Lila Kane started as a girl with nothing but a basket of fish and a dying aunt, bound to a stranger in a deal that felt like doom. But in the shadows of Vincent's secrets, she found a truth brighter than any storm. One voice, one choice, can light a fire no darkness can quench. From a manor of ghosts to a world of hope, Lila became the keeper, not just of cliffs, but of futures. So what's your spark? What'll you carry into the dark? If Lila's story moved you, don't miss out. Subscribe now and hit the bell to dive into more tales that'll grip your soul. Share below. What moment hit you hardest? Let's keep telling stories that matter. Thanks for joining us on this unforgettable ride.